Hey folks, it's Wade here at Shoemakers Academy. We're down here in the workshop, and we've just finished some Black Friday shopping, and I got a pair of Vans here for a friend of mine. But before I send them out, we've got to do a little QC check on it just to see what we're looking at. So we have a pair of Old Skool size 10 here, and these say, well, let's see where they're made. But let's take a look here. First of all, it says QC pass number 9 CLK. All right. Well, let's see how well they did. We've got blue suede and canvas, and we've got packaging looks pretty nice here. So let's set the box aside now. All right. So we've got a pair here, and let's double check. We've got a pair of size 10. And these says made in Cambodia. All right, that's different. Okay, and let's double check here. This is also a size 10. All right, it's got a VF. That's the owner of Vans Vanity Fair. It's got a little material call out there, which says leather, textile, and rubber bottom. Okay, so what we're going to look at here is we're just going to take a quick look to make sure these are clean. There's a little bit of just a dust flake or two, but generally these look pretty clean. I like this nice dark blue, looks like over-dyed suede, and the canvas color matches pretty well. And what we're going to do is we're going to look for some symmetry, right? We're going to just double check that the toe cap's on straight, and look at the back to make sure that these vertical lines are vertical. The back heights are the same. Let's look at the bottom here. We've got a little sticker here that says, one or more of the components of this product is dyed material, leather, textile, canvas. There is a possibility some color migration may occur during use. Okay, well, sometimes you'll see dye migrate into the rubber. It's interesting that they put that notification on there. So what that tells me is that they're having a dye migration issue. Okay. Hey, they've clarified it. If you didn't want this shoe, you could send it back. But what we're looking at here at the bottom, other than that sticker, is there's a couple of things here on Vans. Hidden in here, you'll see it's a little factory code. So this says CLK, whether that means Cambodia and then a particular factory notification, whatever. But you'll see that little waffle. And we've got another Vans down here that we chopped open, and let's see what that one says, because it could say Cambodia, it could say China. Yeah, there's its notification. A little hard to read. Looks like JF, so I don't know what that means. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so here we are. We're looking, and what we're looking at, because this is a vulcanized shoe, the outsole is assembled by hand, and then they come back and they trim off. So we just want to check to see how the rubber trimming is, and these look really smooth. There's a little booger down there, but that's okay. I mean, basically just checking to make sure that the rubber is flush, right, with that the sidewall is flush with the gum, because they do come back and cut that off, and it all looks nice and smooth. The trimming looks clean. I don't see any over gluing on this. Same with this one. I don't see any over gluing, and the colors match left to right. We look inside. Everything looks pretty clean. There's a little wrinkle on the collar here, and that's probably inevitable. And I've seen this on lots of different Vans, so yeah, it is what it is. Now here, when we're looking at the back here, you see all this, where all these layers sort of bunch up and bundle. It's like layer on top of layer, and you end up with a big bump in the back here. That's actually the specification of the shoe. That's correct, right? When they made these shoes in Anaheim in the 60s here in California, that's exactly the technique. And when they moved it overseas, they could line them up and make them perfectly flush, but they choose not to. This is authentic. This is what Vans. This is how they're made. This is how they should be. So leave it at that. But look at inside this shoe. I'm going to just run my hand inside here. It all feels nice and smooth, and run your hand up on the inside of the vamp. There's no wrinkles on that one. And I can see here, this one looks pretty good too. We'll just give it a check. Yeah, nice and smooth. I don't feel any rough stitching or anything. The way the eye stays finished is nice and clean. So yeah, this is a pretty nice pair of shoes. So okay, so this is vulcanized. So what I want to show you, so this pair is for a friend of mine, so we're not going to smash these up. We're going to leave those, but I already have another pair over here that we did cut up, and I'll show you a few things on the inside. Now, one of the interesting things about this shoe is that it is board lasted, right? So you can see, I've peeled this up. You can see where the upper wraps, and there's no strobel, right? And then this shoe, when it was made with the footbed inside the shoe. And there's a few things that I can see how they did that. Is number one, the midsole is made out of a heat resistant material, and so is the footbed foam. So when they made this shoe, the last was, they prepared the last and they put this footbed in and they glued those two together, and then they lasted the shoe. So why am I showing you the last in particular? Well, this is a vulcanized shoe. So the last must be made out of aluminum. Because if you took a plastic glass like this one and put it into the vulcanizing oven, because when you make vulcanized, you assemble all the shoe components onto this metal last, and the whole thing goes into an oven. If you're using a plastic or a wood last, the heat cycling would damage it. So basically, you got to use metal. All right, so that's how that goes together, and it looks exactly like that. That's how it's done. Now inside the Vans shoe, you can see it's board last, and it looks a little bit boogery, not so smooth there. But you know what? When you look at the finished shoe, it's nice and smooth, so you don't really worry about that too much. And when we look at the shoe too, we're looking at a few other things. We've opened it up in the eye stage so you can see the super tough, right? And then you can see that it has a rubberized heel counter, right? So it's still relatively rigid, and you don't use plastic, you have to use rubber, because that's what plastic would melt in the vulcanizing process. So they do use rubber. And you notice too that in the front of this shoe, there's canvas backing the vamp, which you need because it's just suede. But you'll notice there's no reinforcing. So the toe cap just sits nice and flat. And then that's part of the Vans look, right? Now I have another pair of shoes here. And you can see, very, similar classic style, but you can see how the toe cap is, how nicely formed that is. And that's because this has a plastic toe counter inside, and it makes that nice curve, versus the Vans, part of the look is that low vamp. So yeah, there's no reinforcing inside, just canvas to stop the leather from stretching. So all in all, this is a pretty nice pair of shoes. Well done. I'm gonna give these to a friend of mine, and they're gonna be able to enjoy them. But hey, that's a little bit of how vulcanized is made. If you want to learn more about the vulcanizing process, and you want to learn more about all the guts that goes into a shoe like this, then please visit shoemakersacademy.com. If you look in our book, Shoe Material Design Guide, we have this shoe cut apart with all the call outs so you can see what's inside. And we have courses on materials. We also have courses on manufacturing technique, so you can get a really firsthand look at what goes on inside a vulcanized factory. And also, if you look into the channel, there's some other videos about how vulcanized shoes are made. So again, please visit shoemakersacademy.com. There's courses, books, and there's a lot more information about shoemaking, whether you're a DIY shoemaker or you want to get into the business and learn the whole trade of how it works from design to factory to development, all that good stuff. Please like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.